I am someone who absolutely loves hip hop. A lot of people were surprised a few years ago when I said, the only thing that I listen to is hip hop. I don't do none of that R&B stuff. I don't do none of this reggae stuff. It is hip hop for me. Now, when I think about hip hop, I think about 50 Cent, Lil Wayne, Ice Cube, Eminem, and all these other artists from back in the days. Hip hop nowadays has definitely changed, and in my honest opinion, this is not a fact, but hip hop has changed drastically in a negative way. It's dog shit, in my opinion. Hip hop has no motive, no purpose anymore in nowadays era. It's all about who can go viral for quick little money, and that's kind of about it. We're not going to go deeply into hip hop. I could potentially make a complete separate video on the scenery of hip hop nowadays. If you want me to, let me know down in the comments below. Today, we're going to sit back and talk about artists that have either completely fallen off the map of the earth in the music industry or have like fallen off but are making a comeback. The SoundCloud era. I'm pretty sure that a lot of you, when I say SoundCloud era, brings back a lot of nostalgia. Lil Pump, Smokepurpp, X, etc. We had an amazing amount of upcoming rappers from that time, and a lot of them in the SoundCloud era have become one of the biggest. 21 Savage, for instance, Kodak Black. Some people would arguably say that Kodak Black fell off. I completely disagree on that whatsoever. You gotta understand, Kodak Black's been in this game for more than 12 years. He's been rapping since he was 14. He's made a name for himself. Once you've made a name, you're a household state in the industry. And it's the same thing with Drake. I know a lot of people don't like Drake. I know a lot of people do like Drake. I don't give one shit about this whole Drake and Kendrick Lamar thing because the truth is, it has no replay value. This whole beef thing between these two and their camps, that music will die out in a few months and nobody will speak about it because those songs don't have replay value. We're going to talk about the first artist, and unfortunately, one of the most disappointing one on this list, but none other than Lil Skies. Lil Skies, man, I've been listening to him for 7 years. Pretty much had a massive impact on me during my stages in high school when I was 15. And first time I ever heard about Lil Skies was when he dropped this song on Cole Bennett's channel. Now, back in the time, Cole Bennett was the man to be, still is the man to be, to drop music as a underground artist. This was also back in the time that World Star Hip Hop was absolutely going mental with the good artists, the good music. World Star Hip Hop has completely fallen off. You can search up all the stuff you want on World Star Hip Hop right now, nowadays. It's dog shit. Don't even bother. I don't even bother searching up any artist on World Star Hip Hop because there's no reason for it. A few years ago, you as an upcoming artist, you needed a platform to put your music and promote it on. World Star Hip Hop was the place to be, and the same with Cole Bennett. Cole Bennett shoots exclusive directed videos, which I think is so unique about Cole Bennett. I love this style. Now, I didn't know who Lil Skies was at the time. I clicked on this video and I was like, yo, this is a really, really unique sound. I love this a lot. Let me see what other music he has. And that happened in 2018. He had happened to drop, in my opinion, his best album till this day, Life of a Dog Rose. That album, I know all the songs from. Wow, when he dropped that album, because I was still new to his music, I was like, oh, he's dropping an album in January 2018. Let me go check it out. Wow, amazing. Lil Skies had an arguably insane run for not that long though. Yes, he had been making music since 2015, 2016, maybe even younger, but he really blew up on that specific song. Then he dropped other tracks like Rodreo, etc. Lil Skies seemed to be doing really well until he stopped dropping music. And unfortunately, what most cases is with artists, they sign to a record label. They either get in a 360 contract deal or they don't read the contract correctly. Because here's the thing, when you sign to a record label, you have to put out certain amount of albums, certain amount of songs. You have to do this and this and that. If you flop, they drop you. And they also withhold you dropping your music. Because basically what you do is you sign to a label. Let's say they give you $1 million. That's not $1 million you just get handed to you. No. That's a loan that you get from the record label. They are investing $1 million in you. So let's say after tax, $750. You gotta pay your manager $150,000. Then you're left with maybe $500 grand. You have to buy a house. Alright, that's $250 for a house. You have to do this and that. They pay for your studios, this and this and that. But it's not for free. It all comes with a cost. And it's the same thing with signing your music away. When you sign to a label, you often sign your rights away as the owner of your music. So whatever music you've dropped in the past or up-and-coming music, you don't have the rights to it anymore. You sold your licensee as the owner of your music. So Lil Skies was having record label issues, and at the time, 2018-19, a lot of artists were getting into some legal issues with their labels because they weren't letting them drop music. But I always say, read the small letters. It's not that difficult, you dumbass. This is also a reason why I think rappers are really dumb in general. They always complain afterwards, this and that, but they never think of, man, what would have happened if I'd never signed that label or this and this and that? You would have probably been working at McDonald's like the rest of us regular folks. Lil Skies, his music nowadays, oh man, what can I even say about it, man? As a diehard Lil Skies fans, it is fucking disappointing. His latest album was a joke. I don't know what that was. It all sounded the same. No versatility. No creativity, no lyrics, too much auto-tune, and too many repetitive beats. And that's definitely something, unfortunately, one of the reasons why he's fallen off is because, A, he took a long break from social media. If you know, Lil Skies isn't really active on social media. But whenever he announces new music, he never drops it. He always previews the good songs, but then he drops his shit songs. And I never understood why he does that. But yeah, Lil Skies definitely did fall off, and I have to say it, and I hate to say it, I don't think there's a way for him to come back on the top. Because he's had enough time, he's had enough chances to prove himself, and he just doesn't do it. The next artist is a controversial one. His name is DaBaby. I'm pretty sure you know who this is, or you've at least heard of him. DaBaby blew up in 2019 with his hit song with like the diaper and shit in it. And it was a really interesting sound. Now, the songs and projects and albums he dropped afterwards were really good. I like some of his songs. But again, in my humble opinion, like, DaBaby is a perfect example of he has no replay value. Artists like 50 Cent, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, they go way back before social media was even a thing. They go way back before Instagram was even a thing. They have replay value, and it's difficult to explain, but like, artists nowadays, their music has no replay value. With that saying, you can still listen to it in 10 years' time and be like, yeah, this is good. No, and it's the exact same thing like I just told you about the whole Drake and Kendrick beef. Both these two songs they've dropped have no replay value whatsoever. DaBaby is an odd one because DaBaby was doing very well till a certain point where he was at a concert, I think 3.5 years ago, if I remember correctly, and he said something really stupid which made him lose millions and millions of revenue in potential sponsorships. And he got dropped by a lot of artists because what he said was stupid. It had no relevancy to whatever he was doing at his show, and it was dumb. DaBaby, however, is an interesting one. I do feel like he's not as mainstream as he was before that incident and all his antics that he did before, because some of the antics he was in, man, he was in a lot of legal issues as well during the time, getting arrested, this and that, beating the shit out of people because he felt like it. He's a thug with money, pretty much, as I like to say. However, I will give DaBaby credit. Nonetheless, of him getting absolutely blackballed by the entire industry, he has remained his own loyal fan base. Sure, he may not get the numbers he got before, but DaBaby is still popping on Spotify. He's still popping on, and he's still doing tours. He's still going overseas. He's still selling out shows everywhere, left and right. So he's obviously still doing well. He's not like completely fallen off, but he's not where he used to be. And another thing I will also give DaBaby huge credit for, and this is something that I'd never understand about him. When he does these like random freestyles on like these podcasts and everything else, I always question myself, why doesn't he drop this kind of music? This is what we want from DaBaby, not that fucking recycled nonsense. This is good. He dropped the freestyle about a month ago or something. He went absolutely crazy on that one. None other than Lil Baby. Lil Baby is an interesting one because he's been in the game for also a few years. His hit breakthrough was the freestyle, which by this day is one of his better songs. When you listen to one of the songs, you've pretty much just listened through their entire catalog of music. Like, it all sounds the same. The beat selection, the lyrics, the this and this and that. You can only do so much for so long as an artist in the industry before people saying, you know what, it's been enough. Like, every song he's been dropping is like literally sounding the exact same. And that is exactly the same with Lil Baby. He recently dropped a song with Central C, and That's definitely a collab that he needed to revive his career a little bit. Because a few months ago, he was struggling to sell out shows in some states. Like, he couldn't even sell out a couple hundred tickets, which is quite bizarre. Don't let these rappers fool you on social media, because they're not as successful and as rich as you think they are. Matter of fact, you'd be surprised how many rappers are actually poor. They're broke. Like I said, they take loans, they do this and this and that. The whole thing with like rappers, and that's the difference with rappers and country singers. There's also a huge difference, like tax bracket and everything. Country singers are popular for a reason. There is money to be made there. There's no violence in country music. Rap is a whole different genre. Rap is just pure violence and trapping and all this stuff. Let's be honest here. Let's not lie to each other. And that's also a whole different form of money. You really want to make the crazy, crazy money, you do Spanish music or you do country music. You can blow off so quickly and actually start a career for yourself doing country music rather than rap, because rap only takes you that far. What happens if you fall off? Exactly. Then I pray to God that these rappers that fall off, like completely falling off, have some money left. Besides Lil Baby, I'm also going to be speaking about Smokepurpp. Now, Smokepurpp is an interesting one. It's probably a name you haven't heard in a very, very long time. That's also because he's kind of like stopped dropping music. I think he's independent now, but I could be completely incorrect, because again, a lot of artists throughout their career, they don't drop music because they don't want to. They don't drop music because they're not entitled to drop music, because they don't have the rights to their music anymore. They've given it away to the record labels. They own the ownership. Smokepurpp is an interesting one because he was again a artist in the SoundCloud era. He was really popping with Lil Pump, etc. But what people and a lot of others got annoyed with at the time was the stupid antics they were doing for relevancy. And we all kind of knew as soon as the SoundCloud era like died, these kind of artists were not going to make it very far. And yeah, it definitely showed in album sales, in productivity, in how they produce their music. Because here's the thing, Smokepurpp also, in my very humble opinion, has no replay value. None of his music, I'm like, wow, sure, some of the songs give nostalgia, but it's not like, oh wow, like, ooh, it's like, damn, 2017 sound. You don't hear that nowadays, but it is what it is. Smokepurpp like kind of disappeared off the map, and again, I think he had some legal issues with his record label as well, but he's like completely off social media. Like, he hasn't posted a picture in nearly a year on his Instagram, and I've been listening to Smokepurpp for like pretty much 7-8 years on and off. And as weird as it sounds, a lot of people hate on Smokepurpp, but he can make good music. A lot of people don't know this as well, but Smokepurpp used to be signed to Travis Scott, his record label. Not affiliated, he used to be signed, but he got dropped. Why? I don't really know. He never really brought it out. Smokepurpp was doing really good for him, Lil Pump as well, but again, the antics and the repetitive sound, and also because the SoundCloud era eventually was just dying off. People were sick and tired of it, it wasn't cool anymore. Now it's kind of like the opposite sometimes. When I go on social media, I see people commenting, man, I wish we could go back to 2017-18. Bro, I wish hip-hop didn't fucking suck as it is nowadays, because the truth is, I cannot name a single artist nowadays that I'm like, wow, really stands out from the crowd, or like, wow, the music video is really different. It's all just become the same. Who can go viral and make the most money, Rich the Kid is an interesting one. Rich the Kid had been in this game for nearly 15 years. He's been making music for a long, long time. A bit of a strange one. Really, really weird. For a while, Rich the Kid was like not dropping any music, and if he was, it wasn't getting promoted or it wasn't doing well. Lately, he's been going absolutely ham. I want to say Rich the Kid for the past year and a half, 2 years, has actually been doing pretty well with international features and this and this and that. I mean, he recently did a song with Playboy Cardi and Kanye West, which is great for him, business-wise as well. And that's definitely one thing I have to give major credit and props to Rich the Kid himself, is the fact that his network is insane, bro. He's friends with Post Malone. He's friends with Tyga. He's friends with Justin Bieber. He's friends with, you name it. Sure, Rich the Kid is not what he used to be 6-7 years ago. Because I remember when he dropped New Freeze in 2017 with Kendrick Lamar. That was fucking insane. I was like, what? No way this guy got a song with Kendrick. Bro, he had the whole world turn with Plug Walk as well. And bear in mind, everyone that used to listen to the Migos, and I'm talking about not 4 years ago, I'm talking about 10, 12 years ago, everyone know that Rich the Kid is the unofficial fourth member of the Migos. Everyone knows this. He was never in the Migos, but bro used to go absolutely ham on those trap beats back in 2013, 14, 15. Insane, because they're family, believe it or not. I think Quavo is his cousin or something like that. But Rich the Kid has been doing really well for him, and I'm really glad to see him back on the map. He's a businessman at the end of the day. He's not really a artist anymore because he barely drops music. He really barely does. But when he drops it with like the biggest name in the industry. And that's another thing I want to just quickly mention is like an artist like Drake. I think the biggest reason why Drake has been so popular for so long is because he's got his own sound. But I will be honest as well. Drake has replay value. There are a lot of his songs that I'm like, yeah, you can replay this 20 years later and it's still solid. A lot of rappers nowadays, they have that little momentum, that short run of, oh man, this is good. But then after a few months or after a year, it dies down, and like people get sick and tired of the repetitive flow, the repetitive sounds, the same videos. That's also a thing I want to mention. A lot of music videos nowadays all look the same. There's no creativity. With like the SoundCloud era, it was a whole different thing, you know, with the crazy editing and over editing sometimes, but it was fun, you know. Anyways, these were just a few examples of rappers that fell off. Not like completely fallen off, because you have some other rappers that have like been completely butchered, that like nobody listens to anymore. But let me know down in the comments below. Peace out.